here at the George Washington Prep High School in South Central Los Angeles with famed principal Dr. George McKenna III, who is portrayed by Denzel Washington in the George McKenna story. Mr. Lars lives by three mottos. Dare to be positive. The power of one is the empowerment of many. And what you do speaks so loudly, I can't hear what you say. It's my honor to introduce to you Mr. Lars.
Good morning. I am very pleased to have the opportunity to speak with you this morning. I hate David couldn't be here as well. He and I, as our from the city, go a long way back. I want to thank Mr. Williams for giving me the opportunity to share with you. And most of you don't know, but I tell people all the time, I don't give speeches, I have conversations. And I'd like to thank the mayor. As a matter of fact, when he was principal at Northwood High School, I was coaching at Green Oaks at that time, and we were staunch rivals. And I know we have, I saw Mayor here from Oil City, and to our state dignitaries and our local dignitaries, I just want to say again, good morning. And also, I know we have a queen in the house here, and want to say good morning to her, but I want to especially say good morning to my queen, because she's here as well. But what I'd like to share is I'd like to jump back on that piece just very quickly as we go through this talk about what you do. Speak so loudly, I can't hear what you say. And I have a witness sitting right here at this front table, and she knows that drives me crazy. I tell her she gets tired of me saying that. You know, I said I get sick and tired of having conversations with people, and once the conversation's over, they're over. So as we talk about unity, and as we talk about moving forward, Mayor Festervan covered a lot of this, and actually it's like he and I sat down and collaborated on what we were going to talk about this morning. Because I have another motto that I did not share, is that when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me. And it's already been stated that when we go through situations, then it's all, unfortunately, people do not understand. Life is very simple. And too many times, we try to make it be about us. And it's not about us. But given the proper attitude, it can be because of us. That's where we get hung up when life comes to unity, when we start talking about unity, and we start moving around, and we start looking all over the world, and we're searching for answers, and we're wondering why things are not going right, and we're wondering why things are not happening with us. It's because we always try to make it about us, instead of understanding that many times our calling is to serve and not be served, whereby I can understand then it's not about me, but it's about the individuals for which I have been put in place to offer something. Now, if we are to achieve unity, we must completely undress. Now, what I mean by that, not being vulgar, we have to undress our minds. And I honestly do thank Mayor Festervan for saying what he said. We know that we cannot go back and undo the future. However, we bring a lot out the past, but we bring a lot of baggage into the future. So in order to undress, and you know, there's a statue called the Thinker. And if you notice, this guy is sitting here with his hand on his chin, and he has the appearance of being nude. And I think a lot of people miss that, is that he knows that he has to be within a situation where his mind is completely clear. There's nothing prohibiting him, in my opinion, from being able to think and to process and to move information internally. We must realize that this process is not about us. Every time we do anything when we are addressing and working with other people. Now, we must also understand that in our refusal to accept unity, do we relish in those invisible pains of others and ignore the very audible but silent screams of the oppressed to mask our own insecurities? Because so many of us have so much to say about everything. And I tell people all the time, it just amazes me how everybody knows who I am, but they don't know who they are. That amazes me. You know, and I really want you to think about that this morning as we talk about unity, because some of you may or may not know, I'm a poet, and I wrote a poem called Nobody Asked Me. And I wrote that poem because I got sick and tired of people always trying to define who I was, because my skin is brown. And I simply ask one question, is that when the fertilization process began, nobody asked me. They didn't ask me if I wanted to be tall, if I wanted to be short, if I wanted to be fat, if I wanted to be skinny, if I wanted brown eyes, if I wanted black hair. Nobody asked me. I just realized one day I was a person. But people always try to describe who I am. So I decided to pen this poem, and I'm not going to read it, that nobody asked me. So then where do we get off as human beings trying to decide who is going to be what, who is going to do what, where someone's place is, where someone's place is not? Nobody asked me. And that's why, as we talk this morning about unity, we have to be honest. Now, you know, imagine that you're faced with 4 doors. Each door is beautifully decorated with vibrant colors and all the bells and whistles and lights are flashing and all this kind of thing. However, the doors are not numbered, but they are positioned in very specific strategic places. As these doors are sitting there, we all have the opportunity to choose a door. Now, on this door, there are messages. One sign simply reads, "Pick me." The other one reads, "Fairy tales." The other one reads, "Deceit." And another sign reads, "But my parents said so." But I can't count. 5 signs. Underneath one says, "If you pick me, you might find unity." And that's what got everybody confused at looking at those signs. They understood everything that was on that sign. But what got them confused is that unity, so they thought, was misspelled. Because unity on that particular door was spelled YOUNITY. And they were very confused. But they knew that was the closest thing to what they were allegedly looking for. You know, and obviously if you're like me, you know, you kind of laugh to yourself when you see things like that, because our first mind again is to think that maybe somebody made a mistake, and in the modern era, maybe they should have used spell check before making that sign. And as you knock at that door, because of your curiosity, it draws you to knock at that door. And a voice asks you very gently, "May I help you?" And your response is, "I was told to pick one of these doors to find unity." Yours was the only one that was misspelled. Because in our psyche, we think the word is misspelled. The same voice calmly states, "You've chosen the correct door." So the door slowly opens. And as that door opens, the voice cautions you to watch your step. We often don't watch our steps. We just step. Not being honest, not trying to understand other people, not even taking into consideration, and that's why I'm going to allude again to the mayor, not even taking into consideration what he said, is that there were differences that were, and I'll take another word further, that were embedded in us. And so I'm going to try to walk you through that process. Now the board says, if I understand you correctly, you're seeking unity. Is that right? Most of us would respond, yes, that is right. Immediately the door disappeared, you let out a blood-curdling scream because the floor dropped right from underneath you. As you're falling, you're getting scratches and scars and knocks on your head, and most people would probably be yelling and flailing and probably trying to figure out what happened. All of a sudden there's a thud, and there you are, sitting in a chair, upright, facing a screen. The voice asks you again, "May I help you?" And once you collect yourselves, you say, "Yes, I'm here. I'm looking for unity." And what happens? A movie starts to play. Words flash across the screen, like lies, fairy tales, dishonesty, trickery. Next, faces begin to scroll slowly across the screen. Family members, friends, teachers, ministers, politicians, neighbors. Slowly you begin to realize that your lives have been filled with lies, fairy tales, deceit, and hatred. Because we said that we were looking for unity. Then you repeat that question again. You said, but I'm here to find unity. Then the voice says, I will walk you through your search by asking you a series of questions. But you must remain silent. Do not verbalize your answers. I just need you to concentrate. Herein lies the problem with most of us. When we say we're seeking unity, we don't want to concentrate. We want to tell you what your plight is. We want to tell you what you should think. We want to tell you how you should think. We want to tell you to be a team player. But at the same time, we tell you to be an individual. We want to tell you to stand up and march to your own drum. But when you try to stand up and march to your own drum, then somebody tries to knock you down after telling you to stand up and march to your own drum. So what happens here? As this quiet voice starts to ask these individuals that enter the room these questions, did you create the heavens and the earth? Someone tries to answer, but he shushes them in a very kind, quiet voice. Did you create man? Again, someone tries to answer, and he shushes them. Are you the father of Adam and Eve? And this person is really becoming disenchanted right now because they already know. They know what the answers are, and they've kind of figured out where this whole process is going. Do you truly believe that man was made in his maker's image? The figure tries to nod his head, but right now, can't move. His whole body has become stiffened. You know, it's almost like rigor mortis has set in. Do you believe that God has no respect of a person? Now the man really wants to speak, but he can't, because his body is like in suspended animation. Do you believe that God said there should be no other God before me? He just can't, because the voice does not want him to speak. Now the voice now instructs him to continue his search for unity. He wants to speak, but he's afraid to try. And he doesn't know. He's been released. He no longer has a pseudo rigor mortis that's keeping him from speaking. However, he had gotten become so afraid until he was afraid to speak, but he had been given the ability to speak. The voice asked him one last question. Are you an open book filled with deceitful chapters and tattered pages? This confuses him even more. He looks to the left and ponders out loud. Where does this leave my legacy? Because most of us understand that we have a legacy, be it a negative legacy or a positive legacy or a legacy where we want to. In order to achieve unity, we must understand that unity is an action, not a definition. It's not a song. It's not a handshake. It's not because I sit next to somebody and I smile and I gesture. All of those things are called manners. We are all taught, I hope that we are all taught manners, but unity brings about, and that's all, and Mayor Festivan, I gotta keep referring to you, brother. Unity brings about a oneness that we are striving to achieve, and it's a positive oneness. It's not a oneness where I will be the recipient of everything that's happening, and like I often say when I'm doing my violence training, it's easy for the bully to say, okay, yeah, I'm willing to have a conversation after he's done his dirt. Because he doesn't want retaliation. It's easy for me if I just beat you up and somebody come and say, well, you know, Mr. Festivan, I used to get in trouble with this with my superintendents, especially the one in Youngstown, Ohio, because we had a no tolerance policy as well. And if I had a student that engaged in a fight and the student was defending himself, he ain't going home. He's not. And my boss would get mad at me and call me on the carpet, you know, say, well, we have a book and you have to go out. I said, yes, sir. The whole time I'm saying yes, sir, I'm saying to myself, ain't gonna happen. Because I'm being honest with you. When we talk about unity, how can I ask you to engage in unity when I'm the only beneficiary? Everyone benefits from unity. That's why, Mary, I wish Dave could have been here this morning. Dave can tell you, we hear a lot of people talk, but Dave can tell you firsthand. When I coached at Houghton High School, the best player played for me. The kids would see me and the other coaches going at it. I'm the only African-American coach on the staff. But I had some players that didn't look like me that were my better players. And those are the players I want on the field. But in some other coaches' mind, because some other kids fit the stereotype that they had from their learning history, that's who they wanted. And with me not being the head coach, I didn't have the last word. But I fought every day, and I got those kids on the field. And it happened in life, in classroom, etc. So as this voice is asking this man all these questions, and he goes back, and then he starts to think. And his thinking would be like most of us, is that, all of the questions that this voice asked me, I didn't create the heavens and the earth. I didn't make man. I did none of that. So where do I get on thinking that I'm in control of anything that's happening around me? Where do I get on thinking that I can determine someone's life, someone's livelihood, what they should do, what they can't do, what they are suited to do? Because it was said very, very clearly, again, Brother Festival, they're going to think you and I got together on this speech. People think they're so smart, but groups of people are certainly much smarter than one or two people. And I don't say that to be nasty. I say that very, very honestly, because we don't stop to think that every day we go, regardless of race, creed, or color, people go through the same exact ritual. You get out of bed, you go to that little necessary room, you move things from your body, both liquids and solids, you wash your face, you brush your teeth, you groom your hair, you get dressed, you either go to somebody's job or you go to your business. You want your family to be safe, which was talked about, and I'm going to call it the state of Vivian pre-address. You go, and your routine continues. You go shopping, you try to purchase an automobile, hopefully you have health insurance. So I continue to ask us as I close this thing out, when it comes to unity, how many of us are going to address that voice? I certainly try to address it every day. Because anybody that knows me, actually the people in Motor City will tell you, man, they will tell you, I've been this way all of my life. I was not having it. I was not having the craziness. My mother, I would hear all the time, especially after the grazing started, boy, you're going to run like in the tail. I said, I just have to wind up like it, because I ain't having it. And I meant every word then, just like I mean every word now. Because I saw people say, oh, well, I don't see color. I see color. How can you not? But I saw people that hurt. I saw people that were happy. I saw people that were sad. I saw people that were frustrated. I saw people that were misused. And a lot of them did not look like Melvin Lars. And nobody wanted to address it. I became the first African-American administrator in Adrian, Michigan in 1995. I walk into town. They have a gang murder. Nobody knew what was going on. We had to address it and kind of teach the people. I guess that's why I was brought there. But what I found was very sad. A lot of my kids that did not look like me were ignored. They had all of these problems, and everybody focused on what they thought was the problem. And what the problem was is nobody was addressing these kids. We had Latino gangs, we had white gangs, and we had black gangs. If you look up Adrian, Michigan, it's kind of a bedroom community. It was upper middle class at one time, Blue Ribbon School, the whole nine. And people walking around with their heads in the clouds thinking everything was okay. Because we were so busy trying to divide and separate people because of the hue of their skin. And I'm this is insane. This is insane. Every day, we go through the same process. We get up, we go to the little house, we wash, hopefully, we pay, we get dressed, we go to a job, we go to our businesses, every day. And it's not described by color. So we cannot deny, you have a poem that I wrote called Painted Images. And my wife decided she wanted to share that because that's all we are. We're painted images. Even when we identify ourselves as being black or Negro, we are all painted images. When we describe ourselves as being white, check it out. Science will back me up. You all have different textures of whiteness. If you so choose to describe yourself as that, you're a painted image. But the heart is one heart. And most of us, I believe in God. And we talk about that all the time. And it's one God. And we don't have dibs on who God blesses and who he does not. And I find that happening so often. Doesn't matter race, creed, or color. Well, God said this, and God, no, you said that. Let's just be honest. So, as we close, ladies and gentlemen, think about it. Nobody asked you. I guarantee you, nobody in this room, nobody in the world was consulted before they appeared on this earth. No matter how much, you can't deny it. No one in this room was consulted before you appeared on this earth. You just appeared. Then you realize that you were a person. Then you listen to the individuals that taught you. In that quote, you like to use the word train because training is for animals. But you listen to those individuals. But guess what? They had listened to other individuals. And then those individuals had listened to other individuals. And lastly, pet peeve of mine as well. And Lars know me well. I tell her all the time. That's what people lose me when they start talking about, well, it's his truth and it's your truth and the truth is somewhere in the middle. It's a lie. Truth is truth. You may not like what happened. You may want to put a spin on it to make you comfortable, but the truth is the truth and a lie is a lie. There's no such thing as though his side and your side. It's the truth. This is a bench, a speaker's table. Doesn't matter how much I want it to be a 6-serving dinner table. And I said, well, it could be if I take the sides off. Hell no. We're not talking about reconstruction. We're talking about what it is. It is a speaker's podium. Not that we could not become engineers and architects and restructure this podium to be what we want it to be. So as we talk about unity, I'm just simply asking all of you to do what I do. I face reality as it is. I ask myself to face my shortcomings as they are. I am the most imperfect person that I know because I know me better than I know anyone. I know I've said some things that have embarrassed me when I think about what I said. I know I've said some things about people that embarrass me when I think about what I said. Wow, man, that was nasty. And we say, well, we don't have justification for being nasty and mean to anyone because nobody asked me. I just say, I believe in the Heavenly Father. And you heard about my leukemia. They gave me no chance to survive. None. All the chemotherapy, all of that. Nothing worked. They sent me home to die. Gave me an opportunity to go to hospital or go home. And I told them, I'm going home. I ain't going nowhere because God ain't ready for me. So understand unity. Y-O-U-N-I-T-Y. Learn to spell it. Learn to spell it. Because you can't see someone else until you see you. Thank you very much.